I transformed myself quite substantially over about a 2-year period. And then everybody in the gym was coming up to me saying, "What did you do?" I was the crazy lady that was going to give everyone a heart attack because I was saying that dietary fat, healthy dietary fat was fine,
Yes.
and that sugar was the bad guy. And he got home and put his suitcase down and said, "I'm not happy, I'm leaving." And he turned around and got on a plane and left, and I never saw him again.
No.
So it was kind of like he died because he just disappeared. I had 17 different publishers slam the door in my face and say, "We don't know who you are. We can't sell one copy of your book. No one knows who you are." So I decided to publish it myself.
Let's meet someone who has dedicated over 30 years to transforming lives through health and wellness. I'm Kate Sage. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In this interview, we speak with Donna Aston, a renowned Australian nutritionist, author and founder of AstonRX. With over 3 decades of experience in health, fitness and nutrition, Donna shares her inspiring journey from her early beginnings to building a groundbreaking digital health platform. We explore her biggest challenges, proudest moments, and the legacy she wants to leave in the world of wellness. So thank you, Donna, for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me.
30 years in fitness. How did you get started in fitness?
It's a really long time, isn't it? So really, I grew up as not a sporty kid at all. And I didn't really think that much about nutritional food back then either. It wasn't until I was probably in my mid-teens and I stopped growing up and I started growing out.
Right.
And I actually gained about 25 kilos.
Okay.
And this was something very new for me because I hadn't ever really considered it. And I tried gyms, I tried diets, I tried everything that, people try because I just felt so uncomfortable and unhealthy.
Yes.
And then a friend dragged me to this sort of quite serious bodybuilding gym. And it scared the hell out of me, but I thought I'll give it a try. And I realised after a short time that I was quite good at it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the feeling of being strong, and I enjoyed feeling my body change, getting my energy back. And so that sort of started my journey, I suppose, in the health and fitness field.
Amazing. And so personal training wouldn't have been a thing 30 years ago?
It was a very exclusive thing that only the very wealthy people would do. It was definitely not something that was mainstream, that's for sure.
So where did your career start?
It happened really organically because I transformed myself quite substantially over about a 2-year period. And then everybody in the gym was coming up to me saying, "What did you do? How did you do that?"
Where's the magic pill?
And if I had a magic pill in my back pocket, they would have snapped it up in a second. And so when I started saying, well, I got really excited about it. Well, I was eating healthy and I've been training really hard. And they said, yeah, but what did you do?
Yes.
So they didn't want to hear that. They just wanted to hear the magic thing that I did. And I started to realize how much misinformation was out there. And that's really what started to drive me.
And I love that when you wrote your book, Fat or Fiction, people weren't really aligned with fat being good for us. It was the complete opposite. But now there's been a real flip. And tell me about what it was like, that lived experience of knowing something works. However, all of the guidelines, all of the advice, all of the media was the complete opposite.
I was the crazy lady that was going to give everyone a heart attack because I was saying that dietary fat, healthy dietary fat was fine, and that sugar was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And back then, in the late 90s, when I wrote that book and published it, I had all of the medical community and dietitians saying that it was dangerous, that you shouldn't eat fat and that sugar was okay, and that it was still back in that sort of low fat era. And so it was challenging.
And did they even look in the door and look at the clients that you'd trained and the results and your own transformation before making any judgments?
No, really, it was just such a strong belief. And it's something, we're always up against even today in this industry. And now, with the addition of all of the GLP-1 drugs like the Ozempics and Wegovy's, and there is just so much information for people to navigate.
Yes. And I think take me back to, so you moved overseas as well to work, is that right?
I did. I was overseas for about 8 years.
8 years. And so what were you doing there?
Well, I couldn't train people because I was with my husband who was travelling for work, and we were in different countries and on a plane much of the time. And I'd always wanted to write a book. So all of my clients would say, "Oh, that makes so much sense. You really should write a book." And I thought, well, now's my opportunity. All I needed was a laptop.
Yes.
And so I wrote my first book. I actually wrote it in 4 weeks.
Wow.
Because it was really just pouring what was in my head onto paper. And so I came back to publish it. I had all sorts of trouble getting a publisher. I had 17 different publishers slam the door in my face and say, "We don't know who you are. We can't sell one copy of your book. No one knows who you are." And so I decided to publish it myself. And I found a tiny little publishing house who did educational books, and he just showed me how to publish a book. I got my editor and I got the desktop publisher, and I didn't know how to publish a book.
You did it all yourself.
So I ran around and got it all done, and then he wanted to print 500 copies. And I said, "No, I want to print 20,000 copies." And he laughed at me and he said, "No, that's ridiculous. Like, a bestseller in this country is 5,000 back then. So you're crazy." And I said, "Well, how about I pay for the print run?" Because I just knew that it was going to work.
Yeah.
And I said, "I'll pay for the print run." And so I did, and published the book, and 580,000 copies later,
Wow.
it went really well.
Yes, and so good, that feeling that you just knew deep down that it worked. You knew that it was right and that people needed something that you had.
I just knew when you talk to people, you could see the light bulb go on.
Right.
And they're like, "Oh, wow." It just made sense. And people would say to me when they'd read the book, or even now when they do the online program, "Why doesn't everyone know this?"
Yes.
It's the first thing I hear from people.
And now you had a hard part in your life too, coming back from living overseas, travelling around the world. What was the biggest challenge when you got back?
So I was married for that time, and I was travelling with my husband, and we lived between Europe and Australia. And I went to pick him up at the airport one morning at 6 a.m. He'd just flown in, and he got home and put his suitcase down and said, "I'm not happy, I'm leaving." And he turned around and got on a plane and left, and I never saw him again.
No
So
way.
it was kind of like he died, because
Yeah.
he just disappeared. And he was really my sounding board for a lot of my business. He was a very clever, very smart business person, and I always accredited all of my success to him.
Yeah.
And so now I'm on my own with really no confidence and never having made any major business decisions on my own.
Yeah.
And the great part about that in hindsight was I learnt that it wasn't him, it was actually me.
So good. So had you done the book at this stage?
I had published 3 books.
Right.
At this stage.
Deep down, you knew you were capable of it, but you really needed him to be gone for you to be able to see what you were doing.
Exactly.
Wow. Incredible. And so how did you rebuild?
I worked basically 24/7. I'd lost all of my clients, so I started like a personal training studio again, and when everyone started to hear that I was back, I was amazed to see some of my very loyal, fabulous clients coming back. And I just built it up from scratch again, and then started studying nutrition and going forward from there.
And so this next part of your journey, so you've got this incredible online digital platform now. What made you move from the gym and writing books to a digital platform?
Studying nutrition, I realised that no matter how much you train, it's a really important piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
And from a health perspective and a weight loss perspective, without knowing that
Yes.
and without applying that correctly, that you're never going to get to where you want to be. And so I studied nutrition, and then that became my real passion.
Right.
And so while I still had the training side of things, my real passion was in the nutrition side of things and the inside health side of things. And so I'd started working, I'd actually done a lot of travel. So I travelled around Europe, I travelled to America, I went to biohacker summits, and I went to all sorts of things to try to really find out the biology that drives behaviour. And the reason for that is because so many of my very successful clients were all failing at the same thing, which was being able to stick to something long term, and then blaming it on having no willpower, which is crazy. They'd achieved such incredible things. It wasn't.
And in their businesses, they
Absolutely.
could do it. Yeah.
So it just statistically didn't make sense to me. So I discovered a lot of things about insulin resistance and our microbiome, so many different areas of health. And I came back and started building a program. And then I started delivering that with my private clients. And the results we had were just phenomenal. They couldn't believe it, and I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, wow, is this book number 7? I got
Yes.
really excited because that's what I'd always done.
Ah.
And then I thought, no, it needs more support and more guidance, and it's ever evolving. And I really need something different, which is why I came up with a digital platform.
Makes perfect sense, because print, you need the next edition, all that work goes into it, and then you're reiterating. And like you said, if the biggest point where people fail is that consistency and follow through and support, you need to be with them all the time.
Absolutely.
So how does that platform, how are you with them on that platform? How does that work?
The great thing is that I get to deliver what I do, because my biggest passion is educating and empowering people to take control of their health. And so the great thing is I get this instant feedback from people all day long, because we have community forums with each cohort of people going through the program. And I do live coaching sessions online. So instead of one-on-one, I'm now doing it to thousands of people all at once, which is fantastic. So I love it.
So good. And it gives you that ability to reach people where you otherwise couldn't have impact, because your gym was in a particular area. It's not as if you had a franchise where you could be everywhere.
Exactly.
And now, is it global? Can people access all around the world?
All around the world.
Amazing. And so what's next? What do you, like, where do you see this going? What's the big picture? Because I'm sure your brain never stops. You always work. How do you see this evolving?
I've always been a curious person, and I love to know how things work, which is where I, from the nutrition and the training and also the pathology side of things that we work on, I've loved that. But I've also discovered that I love technology.
Oh!
And I love technology because it allows me to really expand on what I can deliver to people.
Yes.
And it helps me to further automate what I do one-on-one with people.
Yes.
I can actually deliver that en masse and still customise it for people, which is amazing. And I think we're in a really exciting time with AI and everything else that's happening in technology at the moment. And so my goal is just working with my brilliant team of developers on further customising and supporting this program.
Amazing, and that gives you that scale-up ability. All of your knowledge is imparted into this platform, and it can just keep evolving.
And like you said, it's scalable. Working one-on-one with people isn't scalable. It can be effective, but it's not as scalable as something like a digital platform.
And just before we finish, what have been some of the other challenges? So you've had these incredible moments, incredible success with your books and the online platform. You've had a terrible relationship breakdown. Anything else that you've really found as a real challenge that you've had to push through?
I guess it's always growing pains when it comes to business, and we all know that when we run a business, and it gets to a milestone and you've got to sort of push through that to get over the hump to the next one, and it's always a bit frightening because you're not sure what's on the other side. I think COVID was a huge part of that, because in COVID I actually shut down the exercise side of things I was doing. I made a huge decision to do that after 25 years. And then I really went full on into online, and we actually launched our platform about probably 3 months before we planned to,
Right.
because we were in lockdown and everyone was screaming for a platform.
They needed something, didn't
And
they?
so I was building week 3 while they were on week 1.
Oh, that's scary. I can see what you mean then in that side of business too, where you've got to keep evolving, think on your feet, and if the opportunity's there, can't shut the door on it.
No, exactly. I've always been one to probably bite off more than I can chew and then chew like crazy.
So good. Well, congratulations. What an incredible platform you've built. And the last question is, what is your secret to good health? You look unbelievably fit and healthy, and you look like you're never going to age. How do you stay fit and healthy? What do you do?
I practice what I preach. Yeah. So for me, it's the foundation of everything that I do, and I couldn't, in my sort of own conscience, be sort of telling other people what to do if I wasn't doing it myself. And I know that it's impossible to pour from an empty cup, and I spend a lot of my time and energy really supporting other people, and so I need a full cup.
Yeah.
And for me to do that, like, I'm known to just get up in the middle of the day when it's busy and just disappear, and my team know I've gone to the gym.
Yes.
And my work will be there when I get back.
So good.
And I could be too busy to do it, but I have non-negotiables that I've set in my life, and training is one of them.
Yeah.
Making sure I'm eating properly is another. Sleep, I always prioritise. I fall to pieces without sleep.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
I need sleep. My brain needs to function with sleep. And so for me, it's about the busier I am, the more focused I become on looking after myself, because I'm putting my body under more pressure, and I really respect that. And I respect that it has a lot of work to do, and I need to give it the right tools to do that.
And what is your favourite thing for self-care?
Again, training. It's like my meditation.
Yeah.
I find that it's something I'm doing for me, and once I get into the gym, I'm in my happy place.
So funny you say that. People would definitely go, Donna is crazy, and I've been told the same, because if I go for a run, that to me is like meditation. I find yoga really painful. I would love to enjoy yoga, but I don't. I would much rather go for a run. I'm sure one day I'll find peace with yoga, but it puts me in that zone. That's my...
It's you time.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, and other people might want to read a book or do those sorts of things, and I love a holiday and reading a book, but or winding down at the end of the day. But when you want to lift yourself up in the middle of the day, there's nothing better.
Nothing better.
So thank you for sharing, Donna, and this is the Inspired CEO. We'll be right back.